Hi, everybody. This is Cohen again. So today we are continuing to work on plot, and hopefully you started this lesson by watching Pixar short film Lifted and answer some questions about the conflict, the climax, and the resolution. I think this is a really interesting um, video and how they use the sound effects and the music to add to the suspense throughout the film. So hopefully you appreciated that as well. So now we're going to look at a poem by Emily Dixon called A Bird Came Down. And again, you can just follow along with me as I read it aloud, and then we will go through the questions together. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then hopped sideways to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head. Like one in danger cautious, I offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and rode him softer home. Than oars divide the ocean to silver for a seam, or butterflies off banks of noon leap splashless as they swim. So now as we go down and look at the questions, the first question just asks, which of the following did the bird do? Did the bird sit in a tree, eat a worm, peck at the beetle, or collect sticks for a nest? I would suggest going back and looking at that first stanza to answer that question. And pause here and answer that question. Okay, so we're moving down to the next question. The climax of the poem was the line. Remember, climax is the turning point. So is it the line, he bit an angleworm in halves, and then he hopped sideways to the wall. I offered him a crumb, leaped splashless as they swam. Again, I think you should go back and look at the poem here and thinking about where, just for a hint, where the climax is in a story or in a poem, right? So the climax usually happens not at the very end, but towards the end after the rising action. So look back in the text and see if you can find which line occurs in the climax of the poem, which is the turning point. You might want to press pause here while you answer. And now we're going to move on to the next question. When the poet describes the grass as convenient, she means the grass always grows there, the grass always has some water, the grass has not been cut, the grass was nearby. So what I would do is, again, I would go back to the text and let's see where she describes the grass as convenient. So it's in the second stanza. It says, and then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then he hopped sideways to the wall to let a beetle pass. So in that context, in that stanza, what does convenient mean? And you may want to press pause here while you take a moment to answer the question. And now at the end of the poem, what happens, right? At the end of the poem, does the bird eat another worm? The bird took a crumb and ate it. The bird flew away, or the bird flew with the butterflies. So go back and check at the end of the text what happens. You can press pause while you do that. And now we're on our final question about this poem. It says, what is the poet describing in the last stanza? So I'll read that last stanza again for you. It says, then oars divide the ocean. Oars are like the paddles in a canoe, right? Oars. Oars divide the ocean to silver for a seam, or butterflies off banks of noon leap splashless as they swim. So, what is happening in this last stanza? What is the poet describing? And you might want to take a pause here to answer that question. And our final question for this lesson today is a quick write. So, in a quick write, I want you to, for this one, to try to write at least 10 lines of dialogue. So, this is a dialogue quick write, which we have been practicing. And what I want you to try to do is to write a short story, a short dialogue between two people. So, some ideas between two siblings, maybe two rivals, someone in their arch nemesis, maybe a conversation, a dialogue between two best friends, two parents, or your choice. I want it just to consist of dialogue. So remember to put the conversation in quotation marks and have dialogue tags. So he said, she said, he exclaimed, and so on. And I'm going to end here. So good luck with that. Feel free to email me or text me if you have any questions with this lesson. See you later. Bye.